Okay, you guys, this is from Reddit. It's from the Scientology thread. I'm just saying, free zone gives me freaking bad vibes, you guys. You guys know what that means, right? Maybe it doesn't mean what I think it does. What did it take to reboot your life after you left the cult of Scientology? The discussion about the Aftermath Foundation, brouhaha, has me thinking about the purpose of the foundation and how much it might have meant to us when we left. I don't want all the drama to diminish the power of the useful service this organization provides. I think drama, that word should be banned. So I thought we might start a thread about what it took for us ex-Church of Scientology members, especially staff or Sea Org, to talk about our experiences in starting or restarting our careers. Maybe I'll highlight the importance of the Aftermath Foundation. I'm not speaking of the practical logistics of leaving. We disappeared in the middle of the night. But the, well, aftermath. Want to know who the author is, just... I'll go first. We left with no money, a total of $400, his car, and all our belongings stuffed into it. Initially, we tried to find work in the city where we disappeared to. But even in 1980, we didn't have enough cash to find a place to stay, get a phone, because any job, even Kelly Girl temp work, required one. And wait out the 2 weeks until a first paycheck arrived. We ended up sleeping in the car and buying groceries you could eat without prep. There was one day when all I had was a carton of milk and a package of cinnamon rolls. When this sank in a few weeks later, I sold some jewelry, including my gold class ring. Mr. Fezab called in a loan of $70 from an old friend, and we scraped together enough money to drive to my parents' house. Not something anybody embraced. On the other side of the country. We lived with my folks until we found work. Saved the money for an apartment with nothing in it except a waterbed someone gave us for free. And got started on new careers. Meanwhile, we were going through emotional turmoil in the space of 8 weeks. The two of us went from the certainty of I know what I'll be doing for the rest of my life, and with whom, to I have to reconsider everything I accepted as true. One romantic note, neither of us ever questioned our love or support for each other. It was a confusing tailspin on top of what will we eat. But in many ways we were lucky. Our families who had been critical of us personally and of Scientology bit back their I told you so temptations and took us in. My sister participated in our leaving logistics by being a message Dropbox. I don't know how it would have worked out otherwise. And we had careers to fall back on. A lot of people don't. We'd only been on staff for a few years. I called a previous employer, originally a summer job, who said, "Can you start Monday?" Mr. F. Zapp had a marketable skill that was suited to show us how you do it. So they weren't interested in what it said or didn't say on his resume. We had full-time jobs within a week of getting to my parents' city, even if they were entry-level in terms of salary. Both of us got raises, bonuses, and promotions. We, made it go right. How many Scientology children hear that every day? What would it be like today, though? Someone leaving after 5 or 10 years would be far behind on any kind of career path. They lack cultural literacy, from how to use a cell phone to familiarity with common office tools. Their educational history would confuse a would-be employer. I know how much of a barrier it was a few years after I moved cross-country to figure out what to put on a resume. Surely I work for a cult. Would not impress anybody. And while most of my friends were never in the Church of Scientology, most people leaving today are splitting from the only friends and family they've ever known. It wasn't until years later that I discovered that I had more options than I knew about. Maybe we didn't need to drive cross-country, for instance. I learned eventually that the food co-op we later joined had facilities to help people out. We could have volunteered to work at the co-op, gotten some basic food, and probably have gotten a couch to sleep on for a week or two. Who knows where that might have led? And it would have meant that we would not feel alone. I cannot express with enough passion or urgency how valuable it is to have the Aftermath Foundation as a viable exit strategy. Please don't fuck it up. I would think some churches may be able to help people with food. I'm not a huge fan of shelters, but some social workers have some good resources at hospitals. And nowadays, you might be able to find a social worker at a library that has resources that you can use. She will know, or he will be able to tell you what type of agencies may be able to help you. And as well, there are free resources when you're ready at the library to get training on basic softwares like Microsoft, Excel, and all the newer softwares for free. Okay, Villas said 2 years ago, ex-Sea Org. Kind of. I mean, it's been more than a decade I've been out of the Sea Org. I had been pulled out of school at 14. Pulled out of school at 14, FBI. By the org to be on staff and all that. I was pretty much homeless. I didn't have a support system. That sounds like Nathan Rich. I couch surfed. I suffered from pretty solid depression and anxiety. I could not even begin to understand and kind of stayed a half-life between the Muggle world and the Scientology world for years. I got reeled in for a $100K loan to solve me. Understand, trying to solve the trauma from Scientology using Scientology. Hint, it didn't help. I got sec checked for hundreds of hours and spent all my package there. At least I was in doc. I don't know what that is. Wish they would explain that. Indoctrinated. In not taking drugs because I would have spiraled. I didn't have marketable skills and $100K debt and surfed one emotional crisis to the next. I just kind of winged it. One job to the next, mostly physical labor. Rebooting is a big word. I'm putting along like the rest of them. I'm proud of myself for my progress. Still, a lot to go. You have no idea what feeling of gratitude and emotions I feel. There's an organization like the Aftermath Foundation for future Sea Org members and Scientologists returning to the world. The attention and online interest in our stories is wonderful and also a bit overwhelming. It's validation. There's now even a term for people like never ends, feels great. Free Zone and proud. I'm proud of you too. And you aren't alone. If nothing else, people here want to support your efforts to do more than just odd jobs. Villas responds, it was more a question of mental health for me. That's PTSD. I have marketable skills now. I now understand much, much more about depression and PTSD at all. It was difficult for me to create a career, stability and precarious inside and out. Doing much better because I understand who and what I am and have solutions for it. Trying to get into university now. Still faffling around, figuring out the world eventually. Thank you. I appreciate it. Significant text responds, I just want to thank folks for sharing their experiences in this thread. I work at a homeless shelter located near an ideal org, and it's really valuable for me to hear these stories so I can start to anticipate the needs of ex-Scientologists who may come to us for shelter and help. Free Zone says, oh my, thank you for saying this. You made my day. Blow Drill. I ended up homeless but felt too much shame to go to a shelter and seek help. It was the idea of how the never-ends world was chaotic. Thank you for your selfless service to helping people who have little to no options. Salt of the earth. Significant text. Thank you very, very much for saying this. The place I work practices harm reduction, like Becky, which means we don't require people get sober before they start living with us. Ooh, that sounds dangerous to me, man. That sounds dangerous. So we end up helping a lot of people who other shelters in the area turned away. Some days the work is painful and hard, and I start to worry that I went into the wrong field. But then I go to work and I see a person who came to us experiencing severe paranoid schizophrenia symptoms. And she's now doing well enough to put on an impromptu origami class for the other residents living there. Or I see someone who was previously catatonically depressed tending flowers on our patio garden. Or I see that a resident who has been with us since his parents kicked him out for being blank gender is finally moving into his first apartment. And then I know it's all worth it. This is what 30 minutes a day adds up to. I don't know what that is, you guys. Oh, it's some promotion. Fly Civil says, so my fiance wasn't in the church at all, but he had just moved from a state that was a lot cheaper to live in and away from his parents. So the only person I was really talking to about it besides him was my older sibling. I applied to a ton of jobs the week before and the week of. So that way, the day I planned on leaving, I could be out and about going to interviews. I had a feeling they were going to go to my home as a way to try to stop me from blowing, which was the case. It's an answer for that. I was literally applying to anything and everything, since I knew I had different skills and was willing to learn. But I didn't and still don't know if I could get by with just the years of experience I have from the church. I took a random fast food job and things just went up from there. It was hard, but if I didn't have my fiancé and my older sibling, I don't know how I would have gotten out, because it was definitely not feasible to me at the time. I had some family and my fiancé, but everyone doesn't have that. I really hope the Aftermath Foundation will be able to figure stuff out soon. I want to add as well, there's a lot of other free resources besides these foundations. And as I had told you guys before, I'm going to work on a whole playlist covering some of them to the best of my ability. I'm going to do my due diligence and find some good resources. Dr. Sassy Pants, that's funny. Escape second gen childhood cult survivor. I still haven't. She hasn't figured stuff out. That's funny. How can we help? Just read it says, I never tell anyone about my past associations with the church. Never. As a public, I've simply just cut comm lines. That means they stopped talking. Don't talk to old friends, moved, and just went on about life. Now when kids go on staff prior to age 18, which is illegal as well, then get declared are just fucked without any support from their second or third dynamics. How many stories have we heard like this? I mean, isn't there something the authorities can do? I mean, I don't even like calling them authorities. I don't even like that word. No money, no food, clothing, or shelter. I can give this advice. Go apply for student aid called FAFSA. Get grant money, get back in community college. Make new friends, choose a career path, and get your general education. I love that advice. I do love that advice, but it might be hard for some of these children that don't get as much education. I'm not saying that they can't do it, but it's going to depend on the person. I do think that'd be an amazing idea. Network. Don't share your story. Just say your family died and you're on your own. It makes it easier. A little sympathy and help is okay. Have a few beers, go to a concert, get laid, but don't do drugs. Unlearn the basics. Social lies are okay. It sounds like a short story. Social lies are okay. There is no missed withhold. That means like a sin. Overts are relative. That means like you're withholding something from Scientology. Some people are jerks. It's okay to be motivator hungry, and petty revenge is satisfying. Don't break the law and always look up. MUs. Either they're speaking Scientologies. I understand why they do it, but I think a lot of folks should kind of wean themselves off of that, to be honest. Last but not least, the third flow of auditing is a lie. Earth is not your responsibility. Take care of number 1 and 2 if she's a good F. That's kind of funny. Free zone and proud. I was with you until the end, but why did you conclude the items in your last paragraph? So he's talking about the third flow of auditing is a lie. That probably is. I like how he says Earth is not your responsibility because, they're always laying that on adults and children. If you don't do something, the Earth is going to be, in trouble. I'm going to read it again just so we don't get lost here. Free Zone says, I was with you until the end, but why did you conclude the items in your last paragraph? I'm not saying that you're wrong if it works for you. If it works for you. But that's not a place I expected you to end up based on the previous points in your message. It surprises me. Just Reddit says, yeah, that's just me, just trying to explain to people who had been locked up in RPF and sec checking. RPF is the prison and sec checking is, it's like an interrogation in Scientology. That the idea of you are responsible for cleaning planet Earth is nonsense. That's what Napoleon and Hitler tried and failed. The third flow, there's similarities. It must be a coincidence, right? The third flow of auditing is solipsism, meaning everything on Earth is caused by you, and you are the effect of it, is BS. And get in a healthy relationship. Don't agree to the idea that you have to ask for permission from a minister of any faith to have sex. I agree with that. When you get comfortable with finding your own philosophy on life, you'll be happier. Freezone says, and it makes so much more sense now. Thank you for clarifying. For instance, I've been thinking that by saying that we aren't responsible for the planet was suggesting that there isn't a reason to care about the environment. That settlement didn't seem to match the other things you wrote. It did take me a long time to adjust my own thinking from you have to see the world, clear the planet, to do what you can to make the world better around you. Think globally, act locally. Because when you take it upon yourself to save the world, sometimes it's too easy to sacrifice individuals along the way. Traditional Pie says, so going by this thread, not a lot of people are being helped by the Aftermath Foundation. Interesting. How much you guys bet that's a Scientologist? I mean, maybe not. I do not want to read that. I'm not doing it. Anything with all this, no. I'm not saying it doesn't go on. I don't want to get involved. Blowdro, growing up in Scientology with parents and grandparents toward the line in the local mission and orgs, it was only a matter of time before I was recruited for the Sea Org. In a way, the Sea Org was my chosen career path, something I mostly embraced while I was in. Once I left, which turned out to be an escape, I was immediately declared, and all family told me my only terminal, that's their only choice, was the IJC. I think the IJC, I think Tori Christman has talked about that. It's like this fake judicial, I don't know, something. So after I had my last door closed, I ended up living on the streets for a number of years. Wonder if this was a kid. Bouncing all around the areas I sort of knew when I was a child, so maybe they're a little bit older. Rebuilding your life with no peer support is an overwhelming task. So you have to make new friends. You know, just open your heart. I know it's hard, especially when there is no frame of reference available. I've had a hard time nurturing passion, fitting into a society I was never introduced to except as a homeless person. Recovery is a lifelong task that requires constant reminders that can present as part obstacles. I've never asked the aftermath for help and don't think I ever would, as the fear of rejection is present and documented in many being denied without any explanation. So will I support others to seek help? Yes, of course. Helping others to avoid the pitfalls is something that I understand is a trauma response, but it's also something I'm okay with. Still learning and trying to find my way, and possibly even a group I can breathe around. I just want to add in, I want Scientologists or former Scientologists, and I'm not shading anyone, to understand that there's a lot more resources out here than just like 2 foundations. And I don't know all the ins and outs about each foundation, but they do have rules that they have to go by. And I'm not taking up for anyone. I'm just saying there's strict guidelines. Okay, Free Zone and Proud. What can we in this community do to help you? Barbary said, I'm quite moved by your story. See you in the lives from time to time. Total strangers and people who are never in a cult are rooting for your success. Bloater says, thank you. I'm here to help and add anything I can to the conversation. Okay, and here's where the Scientologists try to take over the thread. It's always so predictable, isn't it, you guys? They're still stuck in 1982, right? Okay. Scientology is a pathetic joke, disgusting cult. Whoever associates themselves with Scientology or tries to spread word about it should be ashamed of themselves. You know, there's a way to treat people. I don't think being cruel or rude is nice. I think a lot of people in Scientology have good intentions and they're just misled, and it's not okay to be cruel. So I will leave a link in the description box. Like and subscribe if you choose. Otherwise, have an amazing day or night wherever you are. Peace.